My Lords, it's a pleasure to follow the Right Reverend Pellip, the Bishop of Chelmsford, who I think really cut to the nub of this issue and the reason for this bill. This is a case of extreme long-term injustice in which people suffer through absolutely no fault of their own. The fault lies with the failure of the financial sector, the failure of the regulators, the failure of the government to take action. And I think the speech from the Noble Earl Lytton was particularly powerful in illustrating the way in which failures in the financial sector are interacting with gross failures of regulation in the building sector. And some people are almost literally being crunched in the middle between those two situations. Now, I, of course, commend the Noble Lord Sharkey for bringing this bill before us and being a dedicated long-term campaigner on the behalf of the mortgage prisoners. And the Noble Lord, of course, gave us a very clear explanation of the issue. I'm not going to repeat that explanation. What I will acknowledge is that I have been acting as a modest supporter of the Noble Lord since going back to the 2021 Financial Services and Markets Act and the 2023 Financial Services and Market Act. And in that modestly supporting role, I went with the Noble Lord to the Treasury with some of the victims affected, the mortgage prisoners themselves. And I do have to note from that meeting, both as we heard from the Noble Lord, we heard the testimony of just how much this has destroyed some people's lives and indeed has seen tragic cases of suicide. But also, I'm afraid, what really came through from that meeting was the sense that the Treasury really didn't get the issue and didn't grasp the issue. And I think that makes a very powerful case for the bill before us today, for a public inquiry to get the full understanding. We have the excellent LSE Martin Lewis report, but relying on academics or relying on what are, after all, just an ordinary member of the public to explain things is really not the right place to be in this great systems failure case. Now, I think it's also interesting the timing in which we hold this debate, because what we're talking about now is, of course, an extreme case of abuse of consumers in the all too often predatory financial sector. We are seeing scandals strike again and again and again, and innocent consumers are the victims. And I note that it is concerning that just yesterday we saw the unexpected resignation of the head of the UK Financial Ombudsman Service amid what's being described as a major review of the consumer redress system in the financial services sector. The Financial Times report that the Financial Ombudsman who's just resigned, she was under pressure to take a less consumer-friendly approach. We're told that industry executives were complaining that she was too much on the side of consumers. The head of the consumer group Fairer Finance is quoted in the Financial Times as saying, "It may well be that she is quitting in protest at the direction of travel, perhaps the strongest signal yet that the Treasury is serious about watering down consumer protections." This is a real opportunity for the Noble Lord the Minister and the Government to signal that that is indeed not the case in the context in which this bill is before us. Accepting this bill would be one way of sending that signal. We are, of course, as the head of UK Finance said, in the fraud capital of the world. Surely the Government should be more concerned about the fate of consumers, given what we're hearing today. Just one final thought to note. I note an article in the Express newspaper on the 22nd of January, which puts the figure of 47,000 mortgage prisoners cited from the FCA. This story reports that the Economic Secretary to the Treasury has promised to look into these latest proposals, those latest proposals being the LSE Martin Lewis ones. There's a signal coming from at least one source there, one media source, to the mortgage prisoners that they are going to see progress, they are going to see genuine reaction from the government. I can only offer my hopes for all of those people who read that story and had that little dash of hope after so many years of suffering that we're going to hear something positive today.